a good one on ESPN tonight. Two of the best teams in the West face off tonight when the 4-0 Clippers travel north to face the red-hot Steph Curry and the Warriors. Golden State is an 8-point favorite at home. Stephen A., what do you expect in tonight's game?
Well, I don't expect a blowout. I don't expect the Clippers to get annihilated by 50 points like the Memphis Grizzlies did. I think the Clippers and the Warriors being the lone undefeated teams in the Western Conference, I think that speaks to a collision course that seems imminent. They don't like each other very much. You've got Blake Griffin training with an MMA fighter to learn how to be more physical. You've got Doc Rivers irking them because a reporter misconstrued his comments, talking about the Warriors and luck, you know, contributing to their championship that they captured last year. You got Klay Thompson remembering that. You got Sean Livingston talking about how Blake Griffin was unusually physical during a preseason game. And we all know that Chris Paul is not going to bow down to anybody, even though he can't guard Steph Curry, because Steph Curry can pull up from 40, and no one can guard that. The flip side is that Steph Curry and those boys are going to have to guard Chris Paul, too. So it's going to be real interesting to see what transpires. There's no question about that. And Doc Rivers is going to take it as a source of pride as well, because even though he's the coach and he can't go out there and play Skip, it is something to be said about the fact that Steve Kerr isn't there because he's out ill. Alvin Gentry is coaching in New Orleans, and you got Luke Walton as an assistant on the bench. And I think from a prior perspective, even though coaches may not speak on it, you don't want to get out-coached by some assistant filling in. So all of those things contribute to how fiery this matchup may be. I've been looking forward to this for weeks. I cannot wait to see this game tonight.
So the spread, as Molly said, is 8 points. Do you think it'll be under 8?
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than that, but I think the Warriors win because they're at home at the Oracle where they beat the Clippers the last 4 times. I think they find a way to pull out a nail biter.
So you would take the points. I would not. I don't know if you want to call this a blowout, but I could see the home team winning by 20. And the reason I don't call it a blowout is they just, as you point out, they just blew out Memphis by 50. They have won their first 4 games by a combined 100 points. So they're winning by an average of 20, and I think it's at home. It would be average for them to win by 20, even against a Clippers team I have high respect for. But what's going on with Steph right now is Brady-esque, because he's on a mission, chip on shoulder, to prove to the league he was not a fluky MVP and that they were not, quote-unquote, lucky. And I don't think I misconstrued what Doc said. I think he was stating a fact. They got a lot of breaks because every point guard they played got hurt. And then, of course, the Cavs injuries in the finals. So I don't know if you want to call it lucky or not, but now they have new motivation, even as defending champs, to take it back out on the Clippers, their arch rival.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a nail biter unless they decide to foul DeAndre Jordan a lot, and he shoots 39% from the free throw line like he did all of last season. But barring that, I think this will be a nail biter.
Knicks, Cavs, Clippers, Warriors tonight on ESPN. Larry Fitzgerald is with us tomorrow, and thank you to Ja Rule. Announced this morning that quarterback Johnny Manziel will start tomorrow on the road against the undefeated Bengals. Brown starter Josh McCown is dealing with a painful rib injury that he suffered Sunday versus the Cardinals. Manziel made his NFL debut last December against the Bengals, throwing 2 interceptions in a 30-0 loss. Stephen A., what do you expect from Manziel on Thursday night?
Not much, to be quite honest with you, but I'm not saying that to, point the finger at him. I just don't think that he has a lot to work with. You're talking about Johnny Manziel going up against the Bengals, a Bengals team that is undefeated, that is clearly superior to the Cleveland Browns, a team that when Johnny Manziel had his starting debut in the NFL, beat up on Johnny Manziel 30-0, had him 10 for 18 for 80 yards. They literally generated a grand total of 107 yards. That's how anemic Cleveland's offense was. They were completely dominant. Now, Johnny Manziel, admittedly, was not prepared. Ultimately, he revealed that he had some issues. Ultimately, he had to go to a rehabilitation center in the offseason. He comes back this year. He's been average. I mean, he wasn't god-awful. I think we have to take that into consideration. Clearly, there's been some improvement in the games that he has played this year. You know, he's completing, you know, more than 50% of his passes. He didn't look god-awful. He had 3 touchdowns, just 1 interception. He made some plays when he's been in the lineup this year. So certainly, I expect that he might have some bright moments. But is it going to really resonate to the point where he's going to have a profound impact on the outcome? Absolutely not. I think he's going against a superior team. He's devoid of the requisite weapons. And as a result, the Cleveland Browns will fall yet again. But it won't be because of Johnny Manziel. It will be because collectively, as a team, they're simply not good enough to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Unless the Cincinnati Bengals, of course, take the night off.
You know, I'm with you. He has been average this year. I'm going to, again, disqualify myself, Stephen A. As you know, I used to be Johnny's biggest fan. I used to try to drive his bandwagon. Now I'm off the bandwagon, and I still root for him. Heck, I have even prayed for him. But now that he has clearly fallen off the wagon, as in he has started drinking again, it's just hard on me to do anything but give him tough love at this point, because now I don't really care about his on the field. I only care about him off the field. And clearly he is still having issues. And then once he came close to hitting bottom in that highly suspicious incident in the car he was driving with the passenger, his live-in girlfriend, and we all remember the dash cam police audio in which we could hear the young lady saying he hit her a couple of times and that she, quote unquote, feared for her life. And we still haven't heard the outcome of the NFL's investigation into that incident. So given all that, if you force me to talk about him on the field, I've sort of lost heart for it anymore. But to your point, I cannot imagine a more difficult place. Maybe at Seattle against the Legion of Boom, but this is a division rival of theirs, clearly. That game, his performance against Cincinnati last year was in Cleveland, and it was as painful a performance to watch as I have ever had to sit through. He was, to your point, a flat-out disaster. Their offense was a disaster. He was overmatched. I have no idea if he was having off-the-field issues involving alcohol or whatever. But now you've thrown him back into the same fire, except it's at Cincinnati, and the Bengals, as you point out, are 7-0. Oh, great. Well, it's back to my suspicion about the organization. Do they really want him to succeed? You know, I realize Josh McCown's beat up. He's got the rib. But it just seems weird to me that if you're ever going to protect a kid who needs protecting, this is where you don't do this. No. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong opponent, wrong record. Everything's bad. And listen, Josh McCown has worked minor miracles with this Browns offense because it's got no, I told you in the preseason, they got no skill weapons. This is the worst offense in pro football as far as danger point, whereas a defensive coordinator looks at it and says, I don't fear anybody on this offense, and I don't think they fear Johnny very much. And the Bengals were out to get him last year, and they're doing the money sign to him. Great. At least he dropped the money sign. But, okay, if he was average in his previous outings, let's hope he's just average in this one. But I don't give the Browns much of a shot in the football game.
Yeah, regardless.
I don't give them much of a shot either. But I think in fairness to him, let's see how the off-the-field issues play out.
Yep.
In terms of on-the-field issues, let's acknowledge that he doesn't have much to work with.
Yep.
I mean, listen, on the offensive side of the ball, tell me what he has to work with.
Not much.
I'm all ears. Barnage, Travis Benjamin. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Yep. I'm just seeing some of these names. Taylor Gabriel, Andre Hawkins. I've never heard of some of these guys. I mean, I heard of Brian Hartline. There's a reason he's not Miami any longer. I mean, I'm not knocking these guys. I'm quite, but there's nothing that really stands out here, okay? So I'm just saying that they may get lambasted, but it may not be because of their quarterback play. It may be because offensively they're just not very good, and they're going up against one of the better teams in all of the NFL.
I agree.
Hey, might help ratings. My only silver lining to offer right now.
I think you're right about that.
All right. He's not always there when you call, but he's always on time. Up next, rapper and actor Ja Rule is in the house. We'll talk to him about his new show and, of course, NFL, NBA, much more. See you in a minute.
Josh.
Hey.
Hey.
Come on, man.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Get up
Honored,
here.
man. I'm honored. Stephen A., what's going on, partner?
What's up, baby?
How you
What's
doing,
going on,
big
my man?
time?